wasn't ready.
Hold it the wrong way.
I'm sure some of those claps are the most Gumby that we get to sometimes, but
I'll
it's
have to
okay.
edit them all together one time.
Yeah, snap. Having said that, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of AusTableTalk. My name's Luke. I'm at the table with Steve and Emerson. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
And tonight we do not have a producer with us, and so this is the angle.
One camera.
One camera. So I think you guys will survive. So, how has your day been?
Day's been good.
Day has been good, even though you got lost on the way here.
It was all part of the adventure. Today was my eldest daughter's birthday, so.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah,
And so she is now.
She's 4. Yep. So we woke her up this morning because I was leaving for work. I had to be at work at 8. Which was good because usually I start at 6, but I was starting at 8, which was like, yeah, this is good. So Jasmine and I woke her up with a happy birthday song this morning. She was beaming, but Audrey was not happy about it. She wanted to stay in bed and sleep. And then, I brought her outside and showed her a present. We got her a bike with pedals. Instead of a balance bike, but she's been doing very well on the balance bike. So we got her a pedal bike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ah, that is awesome.
We got her a big enough one that she should have it
for
a while. Yeah. So.
Did she take to it like really well straight up?
Well, it's one of the ones where, you pedal forwards or you can pedal backwards. It doesn't have a ratchet in there.
It's a fixie.
Yeah, so she couldn't figure out how to keep it going forwards because she'd push down on this one and then push down on this one. She'd go forwards and then backwards and then forwards. She couldn't figure out how to get going forwards, but I think she might have figured it out today while I was at work. So
very cool.
I didn't have much time this morning to had to take off, but it's been a good day.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Awesome. The topic that we're going to get into.
Hang on. I'm the only one who shared about my day. Yeah. I feel like it's always me sharing about my day, and then we just move on.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a good point. That's good. Should we force you now?
My day was alright. I had a big boundary. Well, I thought it was going to be a fairly decent boundary survey, and it was. And I wasn't sure if we get it done today, but we did. But I have to check a few things. But yeah. Good. It was like the first half of the day was stressful, and then it was like, we're going to get it done. So it was the afternoon was a bit better.
Yeah, okay. Take the foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
Very good. My day was pretty good. I was just working today. There was nothing super out of the ordinary. I had a couple of meetings, a few work calls, and there's just a never-ending supply of phone calls for me. That's kind of how my life feels at the moment.
Terrible.
So, I don't mind phone calls. Like, I like talking to people, but what I realized is that before I got sort of into this role where I'm working now, when very few people ever called me previously, I used to think, it'd be so great to be like in meetings all the time because like I'm an extroverted sort of person. But what I've found out is that means you get nothing done on your list. That's essentially what that means. Yeah. So. But that's good. The other notable part of the day is that Seth has we got him a desk, so he now has a space for his school books and all the rest, and so he's pretty excited about that.
He was very thrilled to show it to me.
Yeah, when you're right.
Look at this. Yeah, I'm like a desk. It's great.
Don't you love the ability like the kids have just to be excited about whatever it is. Like, cool. When I come to your house last time, like you don't like, just call me into your kitchen and go like a fork. Like, it just doesn't happen. So, anyway, actually,
maybe we should be more like little children, right?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually love that. I do. Something else that I've been enjoying. I've been enjoying it with the kids, but I've just been enjoying it myself, and I think. Well, I'm just going to go into such a different direction right now. But then I was like, this is something interesting. So I don't know how long it's been since like appointment viewing kind of stopped, right? But, remember when we were younger, but certainly when I was younger, people were all kind of watching the same shows at the same time. There was there's this kind of unified experience.
Yep.
Well, these days, everyone just watches their own thing, and you're always just recommending to your friends, you should watch this, and then they never do. That's kind of the way it operates these days. Yeah.
So true.
But so I really love it when there is something that is like really, really widespread that people can get behind and watch. Do you guys know who Ryan Trahan is on YouTube?
No.
No, if you haven't come across him, okay. So he's a YouTube creator. He's a young guy. He's a Christian guy, and he kind of creates, I don't know, like you'd say like wholesome Gen Z challenge, sort of like self challenges kind of thing.
Right.
Like I'm going to go and I'm going to like stay in every Airbnb in the city and rank them top to bottom, or like whatever the thing is, right? And he did a few years ago. He did a penny series where he started with a penny and he tried to get across the USA with that one penny, making money from that one penny to get all the way across. Anyway, so he's done a big project like that every year. This year, the project is stay overnight in all 50 states of the US in 50 days.
Oh, wow.
And
a state a day.
Yes,
wow.
a state a day. And so that's what he's
Crazy.
been doing, but it's live uploads, right? So like he uploads every single day and you get to watch like what he did the previous day kind of thing, and as he goes around. The kids love this. I like it too. And so like that's something we watch as a family. And so we've been following along with that. And I just love a couple of things. One is that the whole thing of the series is that they're raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And St. Jude's, they don't charge their patients, right? So like they just look after them as best as possible, and it's a really cool charity. And so they're raising money for that. They set a goal of raising $1 million for the charity, and within like a couple of weeks, they had already hit $2 million, and so they were like, "Oh, we've got to revise the goal. So let's make $2 million." And they crossed $2 million, and now they're like $3.2 million or something that they're up to in the process.
Crazy.
And, they read out the messages from the donors. And so the thing that I like, I share this because it's one of those series that sort of restores your faith in general humanity, because there are so many people who are so willing to help him, because like some people, sometimes they need help in the process because there's a lot of other game mechanics in the story that I won't go into now. But just the humanity of people is beautiful. And I also really like the fact that the people that are sharing and like they put their messages in to be read out, the volume of those who are believers and are doing it from the perspective of faith, and he's sharing it like in this like millions and millions of people are watching this every single day, and it's all being shared like from a faith perspective. In like, yes, he's a Christian, but it's not a Christian channel. Like it's not like a preaching kind of channel. And I just really appreciated that. I've enjoyed that last week or two.
Yeah, I've been watching something similar to this guy who bought, I forget his name, but he's similar, like wholesome YouTuber, and he bought a house for 500 euros in the Balkans. And he's like, I'm gonna restore it, and he bought it, and it was completely entrenched in overgrowth.
Is this the guy that broke his ankle?
Yes.
Sarah's been watching him.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
But it's just his neighbors who he'd never met have all just gone, hey, there's this guy who's bought this house and is restoring it. And every single one of them gets stuck in and just do like laborious labor for him every day for nothing.
Yeah.
Just out of the goodness of their heart. And I think he's up to like 27 episodes or something. And like in one of the last episodes, at the end of it, he was like, I would do anything for these people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's just so cool. Like, these are really good people.
Yeah, that is.
So yeah, restoring faith in humanity is good.
Yes, and we could all use a bit of that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to be depressed about these days. So, having said that, I feel like we're already into reels and feels because we're talking about social media.
Yes.
But as is our habit, it is the time for reels and feels. And seeing we don't have a producer, like jump over there and do it.
Righto.
One second, I'll leave you guys to do the talking.
So this one I sent in. This one is a bit of funny.
Dad, why did you redeem it? You did not have to redeem this. You did not have to redeem this, ma'am. You did not have to redeem this. Why did you do it?
I think the photo.
Why did you do it? Ma'am, you need to listen. You need to listen to me. You are ending my life. You are ending my life. You don't have to do that. Why did you redeem it? You did not have to redeem this.
It started over. So this is one of those guys who takes down scammers, and like messes with them. And they always like drag it on and on and on forever. But it's funny because of the title. This one was also from me, and this one is fascinating. So
This guy in 1870 was helping out in a prison. He found that 42 inmates all traced back to the same great-great-grandfather. So he had to figure out what happened. So he dove in and did a deep study. He found that it traced all the way back to a guy in New York named Max Jukes. He was a bum, a thug, and a womanizer. He had 11 kids with a bunch of different women and a crazy life. And his stats over the 5 generations are insane. 310 people died as paupers, 400 drunks, 190 prostitutes, 150 more criminals, and 7 murderers. But wait, it gets even crazier. Then he compared it to another family at the exact same time. His name was Jonathan Edwards. Also had almost a dozen kids. And he lived right near him. He was a teacher, he was a pastor. And here is their next 5 generations. 13 college presidents, 65 college professors, 75 military leaders, 80 public servants, 60 authors, 60 doctors, 30 judges, 100 more pastors, 100 lawyers, 3 U.S. senators, and a U.S. vice president. Parents do not realize that the decisions that they make today have ripple effects for generations to come. It's more about what we leave in our kids than to them. So this guy in
Wow. That just makes.
I've
It's
got
like-
no mic over there.
Yeah,
I'm going to
okay.
say something.
I don't know, it just makes me think like, good people should be having more children.
yeah, it's fair. That is fair. Like, I saw there was a country, I can't remember which country it is, but they give a loan. I think it's like the equivalent of like $100,000. It's like a significant loan. They give it to people when they turn 20 or something like that, and they cut 25% of the loan off, so they don't have to repay it for every child they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was
So
like,
good.
that's actually quite an
Yep.
interesting incentive, right?
Yeah,
So
that's good.
Don't hate the money.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so what I wanted to say about this, though, in particular, is that I find this fascinating because you see the passages in Scripture where it talks about, the
Fourth generation.
yeah, to the 3rd and 4th generation. This is what I think it's talking about. It's not that
Exactly what
God.
it's talking
It's
about.
not God is not cursing. Okay, because you were like that, I'm going to make your children, suffer. Da 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 da.
Yeah,
No. This is exactly what it is. It's who you are. You are passing on in a very real and very literal way. And yeah, is it possible for there to be a generational break where someone says, "Nope, not me"? Of course there is, because there's free will. But like overall, that's hard to do, right? Like
very hard to
that's
do.
very difficult. So I just think this is a great show of what the gospel can do in not just an individual, but like the offspring for multi
Yeah.
generations.
It has bounding effects.
All right, and so there's one more. This one is mine, and I literally put this in here just because it was funny. So
It is with it.
For the laughs.
I have seen this one before as well.
I have a question for somebody who knows about sound. In the morning time, I make a smoothie and it's very loud and I don't want to wake up my parents. I have this theory. Here's my kitchen. I do this. I open the garage door so some of the sound goes out there. I open the fridge doors and the freezer. I open this cabinet. Does some of the sound go into there, some go into that cabinet, and some go into the fridge and freezer? Or am I just looking like an idiot every morning? If you're a scientist or a Scientologist and know a little bit about sounds and sound waves and stuff, let me know.
Jacob, I have a PhD in audiology working as the chair for the Department of Sound at Noisy State University. We would like to offer you a full ride. That smoothie maker can't be louder than the constant party in the back, bro. Turn on voice memos and some of the sound will go in there. The F, did I not think of this? Thank you. I can delete the post now. If you could stand at the end of the hall facing the blender with the sound coming at you, you could scream back at the blender and cancel the sound. Extension cord. Put the blender in the fridge and shut the door. He goes, thank you. I will delete this post now. Oh my God, there's so many. Sunny D. Thanks. I used to drink you all the time. I've been listening to sounds my whole life. This track sound. Somebody, I don't think a Scientologist could help. Me neither. I'm hoping it's a scientist that helps, but I'll take what I can get.
I have a question for somebody.
That's funny.
Oh man.
I mean, the theory's not bad, but yeah.
Well, his theory is that the sound will go into an area and dissipate.
Yeah. Well,
But having the fridge door and the cupboard door open,
It'll
blocking
reflect
off
it.
that entryway would do something.
yeah.
But not mine.
How measurable it would be.
But having the garage open so that the sound goes
Go
in.
there.
Oh no.
So yeah, I watched that, and like the first part was funny, and I'm like, yeah, that was funny. But the comments,
the comments are
got me so good.
The screaming back at it.
Yeah.
That's the best one. It'll cancel it out.
So I know that was dumb, but there you
Well,
go.
that's how radar works. Some of the new radars work like that, constructive and deconstructive interference, so they can point like.
Yeah, but it's got to be the right sound.
But yeah, right frequency.
Yeah, it's got to be the right frequency. You just can't just yell at it.
Yeah, just yell at it.
Blender. Just make it louder.
The thing that made me laugh when I first heard that part of that reel is that the boys, like kids, they like making noise. As soon as I put the blender on, they both start screaming like,
So like, finally we can scream.
Exactly. I'm like, why are you doing that? And they're like, oh, we're not allowed to just yell in the house usually. So we're like making use of the opportunity.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like it.
Kids be kids.
I appreciate the
Anyway,
ingenuity.
I got tears. Man. All right. If I laugh a lot, I really cry.
Yeah, if you're
I do.
listening to this on audio,
Yeah.
go and watch it on YouTube. because
Yes.
you got to see these.
Yeah, that is worth it. Okay, so tonight we are doing a new format, and I'm a bit excited about this actually. So the format is called Theology Forensics. The Theology. I don't know what I was trying to say. Oh wow, I'm sorry, I'm in a mood.
Theology Forensics. Say, did you come up with the name?
Yes.
It's a good name.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I think
You
I
broke.
I did. Oh boy. All right. Okay. I'll be all right now. I promise. Yes. So the idea is, let's take individual teachings or doctrines and approach it from a like forensic perspective. Let's look at it, see what the motives are, where it came from, and what the truth really is. So that's the basic idea. And this came around from Steve's suggestion. Actually, you were making some suggestions around what our next topic should be, and so you want to share.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to. If you guys just laugh back at me, it'll cancel the sound
out.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the listeners won't be able to hear it.
Yeah, that's right. So, Steve, introduce the topic and any background that you want to provide.
The topic, yes. Well, it's kind of on a whim and it's more out of curiosity. So if you're here for curiosity and not 100% facts, we're going to do the best we can. But we're obviously not professionals in this. The topic is the rapture, and again, like I said, it's just out of curiosity because I stumbled across a Christian hip hop artist who's like he's only got like one album, and it's called Revelation Elevation, and pretty much every single song is about the rapture except for it is like he does an It As Well remix. Like
yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I'll play it for you guys later. It's pretty good. I like it anyway. But it's talking about the rapture, and it just felt like it was just in my feed from Spotify. So I kind of listened to it. I'm like, oh, it's kind of catchy. And I think one of the first songs was a bit more, like a bit more, not generic, but, a bit more mainstream. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So I kind of like clicked on it into his profile and so listening. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like, it's not like it's catchy music, say what you want about the music. But the theology started getting very interesting. So I was like, just thinking about where does this idea come from? Some of the key ideas for those who aren't as familiar. I mean, I'm still the babe in the woods, but it's that the Christians are taken at some point in time off the earth, and then there's a period of tribulation, Typically, that's given a 7-year time window. And during that time, and again, I'm basing this mostly off what this guy was talking about, God's grace is still applicable, but you've got to live through the tribulation and be faithful to God in really hard times. No, and this is kind of where we can talk about more stuff. And my thinking was like, that's a little bit like works-based in that you didn't believe me when it was easy, so I'm going to make you work for it now. And anyway, we can talk about probation and all that kind of fun stuff. But
Yeah.
And then Jesus comes back, and then that's when the final judgment happens. That's the general idea.
Yep.
And I was just curious what we knew about it, if we'd ever thought about it, or because obviously being Adventists, we don't subscribe to pretty much any of those ideas, so it was all kind of new to me. And I just like understanding why people are coming from where they're coming from and how they came to those conclusions, especially with our understanding. You're going to go, how'd you get there? But anyway.
Yeah. And also, I want to make it clear that one of the objectives that I see that we should have for this discussion is to represent the other side well, because the last thing you want to do is to do the straw man thing where we make the alternative viewpoint look really stupid without it doing it all by itself, right?
Yeah.
So I want to find the I didn't mean that to sound that bad.
That's exactly what you just did.
What I mean was sometimes
speak for itself.
Yeah, let speak for itself. If it sounds smart, great. If it doesn't sound smart, we can't help you.
Yeah.
But like I don't want it to be weighted like that.
We're not
So
bad in the stats.
yeah. I thought an interesting place to start would be to find the origin, like who came up with this idea in the first place. So I've got here, John Nelson Darby is probably the most famous, or the guy where this started with. He was born in 1800 and died in 1882.
Interesting time.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Very interesting time.
Yeah.
So well, that's a whole rabbit hole, right?
whole other episode.
Yeah. Because so many churches came up in the 1800s that really have muddied the waters, would you say, in Christianity? It's sort of like there's so many options that are out there now. But anyway, so a little bio here. He was a British theologian and founder of the Plymouth Brethren movement. He developed and popularized dispensationalism, a theological system that divides history into distinct dispensations or eras. He introduced the concept of a pre-tribulation rapture, the belief that Christ would secretly rapture the church before a future 7-year period of tribulation, like Steve was saying. Darby taught that in this rapture there would be it would be invisible and sudden, with believers vanishing unexpectedly. Margaret MacDonald in 1830. Some researchers, notably Dave McPherson, claim that this idea may have been influenced by a vision from a Scottish teenager, Margaret MacDonald, in 1830 during a charismatic revival.
Also interesting timing.
Yes.
All right.
Her vision allegedly describes a partial or selective coming of Christ for some believers. This connection is debated by scholars, but it shows how charismatic revivalism and apocalyptic expectation contributed to the idea.
Yeah, so it was around.
Yeah, it was around. It was in the proximity to it. The role of the Scofield Reference Bible in 1909, which was edited by Cyrus Scofield. This Bible included extensive notes promoting Darby's dispensational framework. It became hugely influential in American evangelical circles and introduced rapture theology to millions through Bible commentary rather than through Scripture itself.
Ooh.
In modern times, Hal Lindsey's The Late Great Planet Earth, 1970, and Tim LaHaye's Left Behind series, 1995.
Aren't they that old? The books.
Yes.
I'm thinking about the movies. I haven't seen them, but I thought the movies were like
I don't know.
fairly recent, like 2010s or something.
Okay, I don't know. But yeah, I remember, because this is where I was exposed to it, right? Because we had friends that owned a Christian bookshop when I was a kid. And when the Left Behind series was like, that was like the big thing. Everyone was so excited about it. And we were like hanging out with them, and they were like, say, oh, it's so cool. And I'm like, oh, it sounds great. Tell me about it. And they're like, I'm like,
You said what?
so what?
I remember when the Left Behind movies were out, and I was with my best mate at the time from school. This is when I was still in school.
Yeah.
And I was over at their house, and they're like, oh, let's put a movie on. Let's put on this movie. It's called Left Behind. And I'm like, oh, tell me about it. Oh, well, basically, like the rapture happens and all the Christians disappear, and then it's about the people who are left on earth. And at this stage, I'd sort of heard about the secret rapture.
Yeah.
But growing up in a Adventist family, I didn't actually think anyone believed it.
Yep.
And I was like, you guys believe in the secret rapture? And they're like, yeah, you don't? I'm like, no. And yeah, I was just sort of, people believe this? You know?
Yeah.
But it's a really big thing. And then I started realizing that in my school, like a lot of people believed it.
Yeah.
Because I was at a Baptist school.
Yeah.
So it was Baptists and Pentecostals and Adventists, and everyone was going to this school. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So I've heard different people, I've had friends that have promoted this idea to me, and I thought a good first place for us to go would be the text that they've cited to me the most often. So that's in Matthew chapter 24. So Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24, verse 40 to 41. Okay, I might actually reverse up the chapter just a little bit to verse 36. But of that day, talking of the second coming, no one knows the day or the hour, not even the angels in heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days of before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Then 2 men will be in the field, and this is like the pertinent bit here. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, the other left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would have come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.
So from verse 40.
Yeah.
You can derive the secret rapture from verse 40 and 41.
Yes.
Where you go, 2 men will be in one field, one will be taken, the other one will be left. And it's sort of, if you read it on its own, it goes, oh, well, one's going to heaven, the other one's left on earth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say what happens to the person left on earth.
Yes.
Because it says that in the previous verses.
Yes.
But we don't worry about those.
Yeah.
And then 2 women will be grinding at the mill, and one will be taken, the other one will be left. And again, it doesn't say what happens to the person left behind.
Yes.
So it doesn't say that they survive. It doesn't say that they die, because it's context.
Yes. Yeah,
You know, and you can get that from those 2 verses. I get it.
Yeah.
But you've got to read it in context. In my eyes, it says, as it was in the days of Noah, and then it describes how the flood came and destroyed everything, right?
Yes.
And so it's saying, as Noah and his family survived, there will be people who are taken while everyone else is destroyed, as it was in the days of Noah. So the people left behind aren't surviving.
Yeah. Well, Jesus does this thing in a lot of his parables where he's driving at a central point, and he makes that point. He says other things in service to that point, but it's important not to read deeply into those things, because that's not what he's trying to talk about, right? Like, the rich man and Lazarus. He's pulling on this intertestamental idea of there being an intermediary place that people go to, and, heaven can see hell, and, anyway, it's like he's drawing on this idea that the people were familiar with the idea of Lazarus being in heaven and the rich man being in hell, and Lazarus, give me a drink.
Yep.
Jesus isn't teaching that heaven and hell are adjacent to each other, and people can nip over from heaven to relieve the suffering of someone in hell. Well, that's not what he's teaching. So I think this is the same thing, because right at the end of the passage, he returns back to the key point, and the key point is. Verse 44, therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.
And so that's where the secret comes in, right?
Yeah.
From secret rapture. There's this secret in verse in verse 36, that's the secret. But of the day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, but my Father only. So there's a big secret.
Yes.
And the secret is the day that he comes, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I'm on board with the rapture idea. Yeah, people are going to get taken into heaven. And I'm on board with the secret idea. Yeah. We don't know when it's going to happen.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Strongmanning it a little bit from the Noah's perspective. It's like they'll be doing like the way I read that bit. It's like they'll be doing life until the event happens.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you were to take, like if
You
you were to
could
read, if
still
you were to
read
read
that.
back into it,
Yeah.
what you're reading is life is going to go on perfectly normally until this like snap event.
I'm following.
So
So they
basically-
went into the ark, and that's the people being taken into heaven.
Yeah.
And then life goes on for a little bit, and then the flood comes and destroys them.
I think it's like I don't know. From the way that I was thinking about it, that's a little bit too literal. It's just that the verse is saying they were eating and drinking and marrying, and then the judgment came.
Yeah.
So basically, from
It's the suddenness
this
that they're
perspective,
pointing
it's
at.
like same at the end of time. They'll be eating, drinking, life going on, and then all of a sudden the rapture will happen.
Yeah.
And
then
people
one
will be
taken
left
after that.
behind.
So it's
Yeah.
like, it's just like I think the thing that would make sense to be focusing on there is that life bit going on normally until judgment, opposed to the whole some people will be on the boat, some people won't be on the boat, because that's kind of like they're also looking at that as well, but it's not the sense that the destruction's the thing they're looking at. It's just that life will go on normally until the judgment event, whatever that is, which in this case would be the rapture.
Yeah, so that's the bit that I can't get on board with is the people left behind and what happens to the people when they're left behind, because again, I haven't done a whole lot of looking into this whole theology, because I've sort of studied the Bible and gone, okay, well, yeah, the Adventist teaching makes sense according to what Scripture says to me, so I know what's going to happen, and so I haven't really gone, well, let me look into what other people believe, which maybe I should, but
I would go so far as to say you should.
I have a little bit,
Yeah.
but not in a huge amount of depth. So people believe that after these people are taken into heaven, that life goes on for a time, and then afterwards more people are taken into heaven, and then the world's destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see that in the Scriptures. But people obviously do, and that's what we're trying to find,
Well,
right?
Yeah, I mean the other passage that I think is used often about this, like the secret nature of it, is in 2 Peter, and so I was just finding that up. It's 2 Peter 3:10, and it talks about the day of the Lord. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens will pass away with a great noise, and the elements will melt with fervent heat. Both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. So
hang on, is this an argument for the secret rapture theology, or an against? Because I've always heard this one as an argument against.
Yeah, and I think best understood, I would agree with that, but they point out this idea of it being as a thief in the night, because from your perspective and my perspective, the second coming is a loud, world-changing
Well,
event.
yeah, that's what it says
Right.
when it says in the which the heavens will melt away with
fervent heat. That's right. So, but they focus on this idea of the day of the Lord coming as a thief in the night, that it will that he will come and take his people. That's it.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, but but don't you think that it will be a loud occurrence?
Yeah, well, that's what it said. That's what it says. It says in the which the heavens will melt away with fervent heat and the earth will be destroyed and blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not quoting it right, but yeah.
Yep, I get you.
That's why I'm saying I've always heard this verse is like the one that people like to use as an argument against this whole theology. It's like, well, the taking will happen, and then it says in the which, so as in the same day or in the same event, the earth is destroyed.
Yeah.
Let me go read it. I'll go find it. 2 Peter 3. 2 Peter 3:10. Yeah, so in this, hang on.
2 Peter
I'm
3:10.
in First John. Hang on. Went too far.
You're
Second
close.
Peter 3, verse 10 says, the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Okay. There you go. What does every thief have in common?
Surprise.
Surprise,
Yeah.
right? No thief ever calls up and says, I'm coming.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way to rob
Yeah.
you. I think where people go wrong is they think that thieves come in, they take something, and they sneak out secretively.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not all thieves have that in common. You've got a hold up.
Yeah.
Give me your money. Bank robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody get on the floor and
Mm-hmm.
give me your money. Like
Yep.
not all thieves are cat burglars. They go in, they take it, and they disappear before anyone knows.
Mhm.
And I think that people see that and go, thieves, and they think cat burglars.
Yeah.
Like he's going to come in, he's going to take his people, he's going to
He's get
disappear
out,
before
yeah.
anybody
Yep.
notices.
Mm-hmm.
But not all thieves have that in common. The one thing that all thieves have in common, and
Yeah.
what God's trying to say is, surprise!
Yeah. Yes.
Here I am. Yeah, so I sort of think of it as more of a bank robbery.
Yeah, I like that thinking. I in this write up that I was just reading on this doctrine, there's a set of commonly cited Bible verses to support the secret rapture, and one of them is 1 Thessalonians 4:16 and 17.
You sure about
Yeah, I don't understand. Because that's the other one that is always used to argue against this theology.
I know, and so as I'm reading that, that's why I was just a little bit distracted then. But
How? Yeah, but
so I'll read it.
Let's go there and see how
Okay.
they derive that.
Okay, so 1 Thessalonians 4:16 and 17. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, with a trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds and meet the Lord together in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. Right. This is used to suggest that the Greek word caught up, harpazo, is seen as the basis for the word rapture. Pre-tribulationists argue that this catching away happens before any tribulation begins.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Again,
Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of God. So again, it's describing a loud, audible, visible event.
Yep. And then those who are alive and remain shall be caught up or raptured, shall be raptured to be with them in the clouds.
And so I guess
Okay, so
what it's saying
this
is
could
it
still be
doesn't-
left
it
behind.
doesn't actually say that the
Yep.
earth is destroyed
No.
in this passage.
Yeah. So again, reading in isolation,
Yep.
okay. Right?
But also not cap burglar. Very much ram
yes,
raid.
very still ram raid.
Like drive the bus in through the doors, take the money and leave. Right?
I like that analogy.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want a couple more from their list?
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 15, 51 to 52.
Starting to get the hang of this Bible.
Yeah.
Finally.
Takes a minute.
51.
15, 51 and 52. You want to read it if anyone's there before me?
Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. How far am I reading? Keep going.
Into 17.
Into what?
Oh,
17?
sorry.
Into chapter 17?
52. Sorry.
Okay,
One
yep.
chapter later.
Just keep reading.
In the list, I read the Thessalonians verse before it, and that 16 and
all
17.
good.
So that's how that happened. Okay, and so the reasoning for it, this change into immortality happens suddenly and implies an instantaneous disappearance of the saints.
No, it's an instantaneous changing.
But
Because verse 53, for this corruptible must put on incorruption and this mortal must put on immortality. So it's not talking about a disappearance. It's just talking about the changing.
Yeah, but that's how they read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's interesting that in this verse and also in the Thessalonians verse that the dead are mentioned first, though.
Yes.
Opposed to, like, because in the theologies, and again, as far as I understand it, feel free to correct me, but that there's still people who are saved during the time of tribulation, like they find like the Bible or God or whatever, and they can be saved as well, but they're persecuted, so then more Christians will die. So you can't raise. Well, you have to have two resurrections then, which I guess we kind of have, but our two resurrections are a little bit different to their two.
Yeah, there's a resurrection of life and the resurrection of damnation. It's very clear that people are raised
for judgment.
Yeah, for judgment, and people are raised for heaven.
But in this case, I guess it's interesting that both the verses say that the dead in Christ rise first.
Yeah.
And then those who are alive are given the new bodies that the dead already have.
Oh, wait a second. Are they seeing this as... Because I mean, most of the people that would believe this would believe in the immortality of the soul, right? So that they would be believing...
Probably too,
Yeah, they would be believing
already up there.
that they're already up there.
That makes sense.
Yeah, see, there's
so much that plays into theology, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is.
This is what I was saying on the group chat. I'm like, if we're gonna do this, we should start with like, where did the church go wrong initially? Like, well, this is the first theology they got wrong, which led to immortality of the soul, which led to this whole theology, and it's...
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? Immortality of the soul is a good one. That's probably got to be... That's fairly early, right?
Yeah. And I think it came from the whole hellfire idea, like, oh, well, if you don't do what you're told, you're going to burn forever in hell. You know, and then they're like, oh, well, that means you're not going to die. So I guess if you're good, you're going to go straight to heaven.
Why did that have such used car salesman vibes? So the next verse that they've got here, by the way, again, which I think is an interesting take, is John 14, 2 and 3.
But hang on, can I say some things on this?
Yes.
So the main point of this verse is that we're not all going to die, because some of us will be alive when Jesus returns.
Yes.
But it says, but we will all change. So the people who are dead and raised back to life will change into incorruption or immortality. And we will also change just like them. But just because we're alive doesn't mean we're also not going to change. Because obviously people who have been dead for thousands of years and there's nothing but dust left are going to change if they're brought back to life, obviously. But it's saying, but good news, you're also going to change into a better form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that. Look, I would even take, like, genuinely just my current form without the stress and sin and whatever. I would take that, let alone what we get actually promised. You know,
literally.
Like,
Yeah. I'd rather be homeless in heaven than be rich on earth.
Oh, any day, man, any day.
14, 2 and 3?
Yeah.
So
Where are we? First
John.
John? Oh, John.
So you'll know it anyway.
Yeah.
In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. But I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you may be also.
And so this is interpreted as Jesus promising to take believers away to heaven rather than bringing heaven to earth. And that... Yeah, I was going to say, that is not a problem.
I agree.
So, like from our perspective of theology,
Why not have both?
yeah, exactly. Why not have both? Because the Bible very clearly talks about us being caught up to Jesus in the clouds. Very clearly talks about us going back to heaven. I go to prepare a place for you. All of these things all point towards us being taken to heaven. But Revelation also very clearly teaches that we come back.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, New Jerusalem descending down to earth.
Yes.
Yep.
So again, in our theology, also this does not present a problem.
No issue there.
All right.
But
yeah,
it doesn't. Again,
It's not exclusive.
It doesn't say that there's people still on Earth
Yes.
alive.
No.
Like it just doesn't support the
Well,
left behind idea.
No, that idea of the like what's happening to the earth in the meantime, like from our perspective, that's Revelation chapter 20, right? Like after we are taken back to heaven.
So
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with someone on the doors back in the day.
Yeah.
And they referenced, I'm just remembering this now, so bear with me. They referenced Revelation 12
Oh yeah.
and the verse where it talks about the male child ruling with a rod of iron.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Verse 5, she bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Her child was caught up to God and his throne. And so she was saying that during the tribulation that Jesus will come down and rule the world from Jerusalem with a rod of iron. And she used that verse to
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot
establish that belief.
Mm.
Again, I don't see it in there.
Yeah. I think a lot of it stems from a misunderstanding or like, and again, we come from a very unique tradition of what, I don't know how if unique's the right word, but we come from a fairly unique in the Christian world understanding of Daniel and Revelation and how they work together.
Mm.
Because especially like this guy, when you listen to what he believes Revelation kind of plays out the same thing. But when you read it as like, well, the way we do, you don't understand how they come to that conclusion. But their theology is like, chapter 6, like Jesus comes.
Do they read it chronology?
Basically,
like chronologically.
Yeah.
So like the seals
lot of-
happen, and then the judgment happens, and then like the angel. Like, well, what's the point of Revelation 14? Like the angels are sent because all the Christians are gone. So Revelation 14 is God sending angels to tell who. Like it's interesting.
Yeah. Because I think people get the idea that Revelation, the whole book of Revelation, is future talk.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's futurism, right?
Thank you. What are they?
what's futurism?
Futurism. So
Preterism and futurism.
yeah, preterism, futurism, historicism, and idealism are like the main isms, the lenses through which you can look at Bible prophecy.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people think that all prophecy is of the future.
Yeah, which is futurists, right?
Yep.
So that's
I get what you're saying.
and that's a reasonably recent school of thinking.
Yeah.
That's not something that was present in the early church
Yeah,
at all.
No.
The
Yeah, because you can see throughout Scripture people prophesying things that are happening currently.
Yes.
And, well, a lot of Revelation is prophesying things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Is it still a prophecy if it happened in the past?
well, it's a vision of something that's happened.
It's still prophetic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I get it.
But yeah, this idea that prophecy is always something that hasn't yet happened
Well, Revelation
is
was
fairly
futurist
recent.
in John's time,
Yeah.
but then in Martin Luther's time, it was
Well, not
preterist.
all of it. A lot of it talks about, Satan's fall.
What? Okay.
Well,
Half a
talking. Well,
chapter?
when I'm talking, I'm sorry, I'm still talking Revelation chapter 12 exclusively.
Yeah.
A lot of Revelation 12 is Satan's fall, and then Christ on earth, and then so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Half a chapter.
Yeah.
Out of 22. but it's all good. But still, like it still breaks the mold. I think the problem with a futurist interpretation, the primary problem with a futurist interpretation is that the Bible is never allowed to interpret itself then. Right? We are filling it with meaning by saying it's in the future. It also means that nothing it ever says is useful to us. Because how far do you put it into the future, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So when does it start?
Yeah.
when does it start? Like, how do you know when we've crossed that threshold? Or do we ever cross that threshold?
Although the counter argument to that is, like, in our understanding, we know that, well, we believe that we're up to a certain point in Revelation, but we also don't know when other certain events will. Like, because from
A lot's
1844, we don't
been
know.
fulfilled.
Yeah.
But your point is a good one about, well, when John was
We've been reading about it. We don't know when Jesus is coming back.
Yeah,
So
when
there's a
John
whole
was
chunk we don't
prophesying it,
know.
a lot of it's been fulfilled now. That hadn't happened for him yet. Like he was in the time of the letter to the first church, and now we're in the time of the letter to the last church, right?
Yeah.
So all of the churches are played out.
I think it's important to mention for anybody that's tracking with this who may not have heard this idea previously that preterists they have the opposite idea that things have already happened.
It's all fulfilled.
Yeah, it's all already been fulfilled, and we're looking at it in the rearview mirror. And also, then that puts us in the place where it
No
doesn't
longer useful.
It's no longer useful.
Don't read it.
That's right. So, from my perspective, the only way you can read the Bible and allow the Bible to define it itself is the historicist view. And whilst historicism has multiple flavors, which also disagree with each other, the overarching idea of historicism is that you can read the Bible, the prophecy. When a prophecy is shared, the fulfillment starts from whenever that happened and looks forward into the future to the time when Jesus will come back. Like that's how all prophecy is interpreted. So when you read Daniel giving a prophecy about the statue in Daniel chapter 2, you're going to be bound to the idea that, well, this is saying this starts in Daniel chapter 2 and it goes all the way through until the return of Christ. When you read John prophesying in the book of Revelation at the end of the first century, then you're going to be saying, okay, well, what he's seeing here starts around here and takes us through to the end of time. And that's how you read. That's the filter that you read through. And so, I think it's I have respect for other people, but I think that's the only responsible way you can read the text and allow without reading your own message into whatever it happens to be. There's one more text in this list of supporting verses. So let's do that, which is also Revelation 3 verse 10.
That's interesting. Chapter 2's got all the tribulation stuff in it. 3:10, eh? But because you have kept my command to persevere, stroking out. I also will keep you from the hour of trial which shall come upon the whole world to test those who dwell on the earth. Interesting. And that's, interestingly enough, that is the letter to Laodicea, isn't it?
Nope.
No, it's not?
That's Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, sorry, the one. Yeah, sorry. I was one early. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
But then it's... Oh, yeah, okay.
So this passage...
What time period is that for? Is that like
that's 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What tribulation did they go through aside from the Great Disappointment? It wasn't really...
Well, I don't know if it's exactly 1800s, but up to the 1800s. So that is the time of the Reformation, basically. So 15 to 1800s.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of persecution.
Yeah. So, and if you're wondering what I'm talking about there, if you haven't studied this before, the seven churches, there's a few different ways that they get read. There's the way that many historicist scholars will read that is that it is describing the phases of the church era. So from the time of the early church through to the end of time, these are like the different chapters. So you can sort of get the picture of it when you look at the talks about the Church of Ephesus and Smyrna. This talks about that's the persecuted church, and so you can see the early Christian persecutions that happened. Then the compromising church, the church generally started to go into apostasy and teach things that Jesus never taught. Then ends up from compromising, it ends up in corruption. So the church ends up in that place. In that,
all it cares about is money.
All it cares about, yeah, exactly. And there's that unification of church and state. Power creates bad things. The dead church. So notice the trajectory, right? Compromising, corrupt, dead. And then it comes back to saying the faithful church. This is the
reformers.
Yeah, the reformers.
Yep.
So this air of faithfulness returns to the church, and then once the church has that healthy little kick, then you get to the lukewarm church, where the church
cold,
just gets
hot.
too comfortable. Yeah,
Yep.
Which is a fair description of a lot of Christianity today.
Right now.
I mean, sure, there are places where Christians are being persecuted and killed for their faith in huge ways, which I don't want to diminish by saying that. But, you look at the great majority of Western Christianity, let's say, and it is a pretty lukewarm kind of a group.
There's a small pocket of hot churches and a small pocket of cold churches, but
But that's always going to be that way, right?
when you mix it all in, it becomes lukewarm.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
is sort of what it's getting at.
So, but what I find interesting, the fact that they use this passage.
And it's also comes down to the phases of the churches right up to the last two. It was all one church.
Yeah.
There was only one church.
Mm.
And then up until the Reformation, now we've got more churches. And then the time of the lukewarm church, man, we got a lot of different churches.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that this is even... Do you think this prophecy even cares about the fact that we've all got different names?
No.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that's why you have more pocketed. And when
Right,
you have the corrupt church,
We're more
not
schismatic, yeah.
everyone was corrupt because there was only one church.
Mm.
When you have the dead church, everything was dead
Mm.
because there was only one church.
Yeah.
And when you have the faithful church, well, now we're getting into the time of pockets.
Yeah.
There were still dead people dead in the church. But the majority of it was like, hey, there's a lot more going on here. Everyone was waking up.
Yeah.
Even the people who were fighting against it were sort of waking up to it.
Mm.
And then the lukewarm churches, that's the point I was making.
Yeah.
Probably
So
unnecessary.
in light of what we're saying this passage means, what would you say the correct interpretation of verse 10 is? Because you have kept my command to persevere, I also will keep you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the whole world to test those who dwell on the earth.
That's funny. So it's actually the inverse in the sense that, it means what they think it means in the sense that they will not have to live through the great tribulation that the last church will have to live through. But instead of being raptured, they'll just be sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They're asleep in Jesus for that.
Yeah. They're not having to see it all go to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well that was the last of the verses that we have there, but I think I found this to be a really interesting look because I don't want to sound like we know it all because we don't, but I think that it's fascinating to read these texts the way that they are read by others. The thing that strikes me, and I hope this isn't my bias talking, but it feels like the overarching theme that we've seen in all of these verses is that they are read in isolation. Yeah. And I think one of the beautiful things about studying the Bible, to the degree to which you can create a structure of belief. You don't have these individual pieces of the puzzle. Like one of the founders of our church described this framework of truth, and the way they all interlock together is what makes it beautiful. The individual truths, they're great, but the way they interlock with each other is what is profound. And I think that is very true because
that's how we've come to the Bible. I know we've talked about this previously, but the sense that only things in the Bible that are considered canon are those that complement each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a whole episode on how the Bible is interconnected and interwoven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that episode was very interwoven.
We probably could have done a couple of episodes on it, honestly.
Yeah.
So Isaiah says, I know we like to proof text our way into this as well, but it says, for precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. And that's not meaning here a little, there a little in the sense of I get one verse from this book and one verse from this book. It's that and again, this is going back to why the Bible is the way it is that Torah is, like, no one argues that Torah is scripture. So everything has to agree with Torah. And it builds from there in the sense that it all has to work together. Otherwise it doesn't fit. And I think even just looking through the verses that we have, we can see that even between the verses that can be compiled to somewhat prove this argument, in themselves they kind of contradict, or they can be read in a way quite clearly that it's not saying what it's saying. Like, you've got to read into the text what you're wanting to get out of it, opposed to just reading it and it being clearly explaining what it's saying.
Yep. Okay, well, do you guys have anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap this one? I feel like this one has almost explained itself. It did not really need, we did not need to be here in some ways. And what I mean by that is that the Bible is very clear.
Yeah, the Bible's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I will say is that from my understanding, and I think we probably should do another episode just to focus on this at some point, but to look at the second coming. But I think it's pretty clear that the second coming is loud. It is yes, might be a surprise, but at that point,
100%.
we are taken to heaven and we get to stay there with Jesus. And there is more Bible study to do to get us to this place. But my understanding is that we will be there for 1,000 years with him. And that's when Daniel refers to the books being opened. And we are able to get all of those questions answered. Why wasn't John here? He was such a good guy at my church. Like, well, you didn't see what was in John's heart. This was in John's heart, and this is what he was, who he was when he wasn't at church. You get to have those questions.
Yeah, we're going to be
answered.
judging men. We're going to be judging angels.
Yeah,
We're going to be judging God.
Yep. And I think that we often think, oh, well, why wasn't this person here? I think we're going to have a lot of study to figure out why some people were there. Like, can you imagine, you think of like a really evil person that and you arrive in heaven and on day 2, you notice them there?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have some questions, right? And so I think that time there'll be a lot of questions to answer.
There'll be a lot of testimonies being told.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then eventually the return to earth. The Bible talks about in Isaiah 66, it describes this idea of the new earth, where we are living after that judgment occurs. And so in some way and somehow we return back to this earth, and the final judgment is done, it's made, and sin is no more forever, and we get to spend eternity.
Yeah, we
with
should
Jesus.
we should do a couple of episodes
I
on
think
that,
we
which
should.
has not happened yet.
Yeah. That would be good. So
That's cool. And whilst it's cool to know about like what happens afterwards, and it does matter, but it also doesn't really matter, in that all that we need to be waiting for is Jesus to come back, and then then we'll know, and we'll be along for the ride. Like, once Jesus comes, it doesn't matter what happens after Jesus comes, so long as we're with Jesus.
yeah.
And I think if we're all looking forward to that point, even if we don't fully understand the scriptures the way that we should, if we're all looking forward and striving towards that goal in relationship with Jesus, that's a good thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, I feel like we haven't really done this theology justice if we haven't really talked about the tribulation, though. Like,
True. We
haven't
didn't get to
really
that point.
talked about what the Bible says about the tribulation, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Yeah, back to Matthew 24.
Yeah.
Would that be the appropriate
verse
place?
15.
Yeah, I mean, we've already gone a little bit long. I don't think you guys are going to mind, considering it's like half as long as the last episode we
Yeah, I
released.
know we were
so-
wrapping up, but I was just thinking, I'm like, well,
I'm glad.
we haven't covered like a pretty major part of
Yeah.
this.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, the funny thing is, and I was thinking this when we were at Matthew 24 earlier, is that what we read to begin the episode in verse 40 and 41 about the 2 men who are in the field, one taken, one left, that happens after the Great Tribulation that Jesus explains, which is, I find that somewhat amusing in that you've got to kind of put your, I don't know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
chapter backwards.
but I mean, all of Matthew 24
It does jump
it
around.
has a big chiastic structure to it. So it's not chronological either, really. Like, he sort of starts at the basics, comes to the apex, and then goes back to the basics. Expanded upon, of course. But, yeah.
Where are you looking to start,
Where
Steve?
did you say you were going? 15?
15's where the Great Tribulation starts, kind of through to,
Yes.
I don't know where to stop, but probably 22 would be not a bad spot to say.
Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything out of his house, and let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and those who are nursing babies in those days, and pray that your flight may not be on the in the winter or on the Sabbath. For them there will be great tribulation, such as not has been seen since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Then, if anyone says to you, "Look, there is the Christ," there or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders and deceive, if possible, even the elect.
Mm.
Or is that where we said we were going to?
Something like that.
Something like that. Actually, I'm just going to read to the end of that little section, just verse 28. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, "Look, he is in the desert," do not go out. Or, "Look, he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together.
That's not obvious.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Sounds like a fun time.
Party!
All right, verse 29, immediately after the tribulation. All right, here we go. What happens immediately after the tribulation? The sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the heavens and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all of the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Okay, so there it is. It's after the tribulation, right? The coming of the Son of Man is after the tribulation, not before, not during. It's after, and it's loud and visible, and so I guess the idea is that there's a secret rapture before the tribulation, and then there's the tribulation, and then there's the loud, verbal, visible one that happens afterwards.
That's the judgment coming.
The judgment, right? I just don't see it anywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
It's
even reading the verses that they like to reference, and I know that we don't have someone here who does believe it to properly
fact check
steel
with.
man it.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it.
I think it's interesting. 22 says like no flesh would be saved because it's going to be that bad, and we believe that that's because like Satan's going to be making it pretty bad, but like humans are like just basically killing each other. But it's shortened for whose sake is the elect's sake. And
So that means they must be there.
well, and in this theology, in the rapture theology, they do believe that people convert and can still be saved. So that doesn't refute the belief, but that clearly states that there will be people who are like saved, sealed, and for their reason that it's pulled up.
Maybe we'll have to do an episode on predestination.
Bit of Calvinism. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, I think the tribulation is an interesting part of it, and I wish I understood exactly what that's going to look like better, because
I think they link it to the seven trumpets as well, with like all of these things being struck, and then and some of the seals as well. Like it's a homogeneous blend of a whole bunch of like, this is a lot of bad stuff, so it must be tribulation talk, and all kind of thrown into the blender.
Right. Because what I was just thinking was, I was thinking about the Exodus, right? Been reading through, studying the Exodus at the moment, and this just sort of triggered my thinking around that, thinking about the plagues, right? The plagues were a time of tribulation for both the
Jews and the Egyptians.
Yeah, that's right, Israelites and Egyptians, but only up to a point, right? The only the first few plagues affected everyone, and then it became specific, right?
Yep.
And I think that is foreshadowing of what the time of tribulation will be like. I don't think that means we get a free ticket and we get to go to heaven and check out at that point. Peace out, planet Earth. I think it's the case that once God's what's what I'm looking for? Once his purpose has been accomplished in the first plagues, he doesn't, persecuting or punishing God's people doesn't win any points, and so therefore he will protect us in that point. And I think that's when things get really funky. That's when things get really crazy, and we're very, very close to the end. So you found a text or something?
No,
you're good. All right. Well, I think we kind of landed it.
Yeah.
Let's have a think about what we're gonna do for the next one. For you guys that are listening, if there's any particular teachings that you'd like us to look at, and we're happy whether that's something that we know well or something we don't know well, we will give it the same treatment. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. So let us know. Yeah.
Can we do what I want to do?
Yeah, of course.
I want to do hellfire.
Yeah.
Eternal hellfire.
Yes.
Because I think that I don't know, just the way I look at the history of the church, it seems to me like a lot of the false doctrines that leak in came from this idea of eternal hellfire.
You know what we should do? Let's do that next week.
Yep.
Let's one of us.
Like pick positions.
Yeah.
Play the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Yep.
I reckon that'll be fun. So let's try that out.
Righto.
Cool. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining us for this episode. It's been fun. We will catch you guys next week. And until then, God bless. Oh, there's no one to press the button.
Oh.
Emerson, go press the button.
Which one?
The one under the red one.
It says stop.